Our next guest has a hockey analogy for us. So she says that investors want to have money going where the puck will be, not skating where it is at present. Digital media angel investor, CEO of Citia, Holliday, with us now. Welcome back to Money Moves. Always glad to see you.
Great to be here. Thank you.
I know you were at a big fancy digital media dinner last evening, and I'm just curious, with all this money around and people deciding which projects to back, what kind of themes, or if you had to pick out one that resounded from last night, tell me.
Surprise, social.
Okay. Yeah.
So every IPO generates a lot of new entrepreneurs, and people tend to want to invest in the thing they know the best, which is social. So there's a huge amount of money that's going into social. A lot of the New York digital investors are having conversations about whether or not that's wise, because we're not sure where social ends up, right? It's not clear how to monetize it. It's not clear that we all want to use that much of it. So that's a very vibrant conversation that goes on.
And so I'm assuming it's forcing a little bit of extra discipline when you decide where to put money.
Well, the lavish amounts of funding in that space, keep a lot of investors out because it just seems overpriced at times, and that makes opportunities in other spaces. So it is a bit of an ecosystem, and it does help to keep the money moving, which is good.
Well, it is good. How is it changing what you're doing as Citia?
Well, we're actually making a bet that paid content is an answer to this information overload, and that a lot of us, especially adults who at work, have the need to consume a lot of high quality, professionally made content. And my own frustration with the fact that it's really hard to get through these important books like this one, which is, if you want to understand technology, Kevin Kelly's, one of the
You almost have to read it, right?
Right, if you want to know where the puck's going, listen to the people who understand where it's going. But these books pile up. I'm sure you have that same problem.
Stacks and stacks, yeah.
So how do you get through them and make sure you've gotten the best ideas, that you can eliminate the things you already know, and how do you share them with your team? Because most of us work with a lot of other people, and we need to kind of have the same page in mind as we.
So you've created an app, if I understand correctly, that is an excellent editor and then allows you to share the material, as you just mentioned, with your team, right? How does it work?
So we deconstruct and reconstruct the book on a visual index. It's called an Idea First Index, and it's actually 3D, so this is a real breakthrough. It's a mostly HTML5 app that operates in 3 dimensions. Everything until now uses this kind of XY paper metaphor for content. So we've broken through that because we think that your ability to find your way in 3 dimensions is very human and natural, and will help us get through massive amounts of content as well.
So how much is it?
$9.99. Our first app is based on this book, and it's $9.99.
And basically it's available on the iPad, and if I read your research correctly, you're looking to develop it for other platforms as well.
So we have a pipeline of about 15 books right now that we are starting to produce. They're all in the business and technology community of interest, and we'll start to bring in other kinds of content to a platform so that all this content will interoperate, and it also works in this kind of new media slipstream.
Now, it sounds a lot more sophisticated than Cliff Notes, but is that the goal? Is that, okay, you have to read, let's say, 5 to 10 books if you're a professional per week to keep up with what's going on in your industry, and this is a kind of editor, computerized editor, that's going to help you grasp the material?
Kind of. I mean, there's a lot of, judgment and old-fashioned wetware that goes into making these things too. But the urge for Cliff Notes to try and get through something faster, I think, is even greater. And if you add all the capacity of digital media and the background IT that can support that kind of logic, that we can make lots of new things that are fast and still good.
What was it like working with the publishers? Because this is an area, a business that has just been cannibalized recently. Were they enthusiastic or were they skeptical?
Actually, surprisingly, the publishers were immensely enthusiastic. Penguin, who's working with us on this first book, is leaning way into this project. They have challenges in their business, the discovery process, for example, where you would walk into a bookstore and intending to buy 1 and buy 5. As bookstores decline, that upselling declines. So they need new ways to get books in front of people. So if we're sharing a conversation and I send you some cards from this kind of card-based book, and you like them, you can just flip them over and buy the book.
So we've heard this song before, literally, where you can buy the song and maybe not the album, and that's what you're making available in the books.
So right now you can only transact on whole books, but we hope to get there, and we think a lot of people will make new versions combining books into some kind of custom publishing idea. And the card system allows all those authors with the underlying IP to still get paid when somebody does that. That's a little in front of us.
All right. Well, we look forward to hearing how it's going. Linda Holliday, thank you very much.